On this hill in southern Germany, overlooking the city of Darmstadt, lie the ruins of a medieval castle with a suggestive name.
Welcome to the castle Frankenstein. A lot of people came here because they think the monster, the creature of Mary Shelley's story has anything to do with the castle.
The last resident of the castle, who lived here in the 1700s, might be the culprit for that. The theologian, physician and alchemist Conrad Diepl.
We know that Mary Shelley made a holiday tour on the Rhine River, and she stayed for one night in Gernsheim, 17 kilometers from here in this direction.
That gives us the possibility that she had heard about the mysterious Conrad Diepl at Schloss Frankenstein, trying to find how to make gold and how to discover the secret of eternal life, which is quite close to Mary's idea of animating a body and bringing it to life as Frankenstein's creature.
So could Conrad Diepl have been the real-life inspiration behind the story of Frankenstein?
Everybody always wants to find the real sources of Frankenstein, and they usually turn out to be about 20 different sources.
This place is a very old place. It's nearly 800 years old.
But the name Frankenstein is even older than the castle.
Stein means stone. Stone was the whole area. And this area is took by violence by the Franconians. That's where the name came from.
The noble family von Frankenstein, a name that would become very common in Germany, ruled these lands from the 1200s until 1662, when the lordship was sold. Conrad Diepl was born at the castle after that, in 1673, but was never its owner. After finishing his studies at the University of Gießen, he moved back here to work as an alchemist.
He got a lab behind the castle, and he liked to make experiments.
Many of these experiments may have ended in explosions.
And then people talked about him. It's maybe a witcher, maybe a wizard. He survived the big explosion.
But the truth is that Diepl was never able to create gold or find the secrets to eternal life. In fact, he died aged 60.
Poor Diepl didn't have much luck. What he did was he got a paste, which is an idea Mary could have heard about. He made a paste of animals' bodies and he smeared this paste on bodies or bones in the hope of bringing them to life. But alas, this was all a complete failure. But we are left with a strong possibility that this strange little castle on a hill in Germany could have given her the name for Victor Frankenstein. To me, this is the most interesting thing. It's not so much the Schloss itself, but how much had already been in her mind when she heard about Conrad Diepl and the Schloss. At the age of 14, she was being sent off to the lectures being given by Sir Humphrey Davy, the most brilliant scientist of the age. Humphrey Davy was talking about all sorts of things to do with galvanism.
The term galvanism comes from Luigi Galvani, an Italian physician and a pioneer in bioelectromagnetics. In 1780, he was able to make a dead frog's leg twitch after hooking the animal up to an electric charge. Later, Galvani's nephew, Aldini, performed similar experiments with the body of a hanged man. And the corpse is said to have opened one yellow eye.
Well, this is something that actually comes into the awakening of the creature and into Mary's introduction, that famous introduction she wrote later. This idea of this yellow eye had stuck with her. Other source of electrical ideas for Mary is the fact that she and Shelley seem very likely to have visited an extraordinary man called Andrew Cross. He was experimenting with early forms of electricity, and what he was always waiting for was a night when lightning would strike, because this was when he could really get his electric tricks going.
And there was also Mary's father, writer William Godwin.
He wrote the first detective novel ever called Caleb Williams, which is about, funnily enough, a hunted man who becomes the hunter. There's another book that Godwin wrote. This was St. Leon. St. Leon was the story of an alchemist. So then we come back to Conrad Dippel and this hope of creating gold. You've got all these different things that are at the back of Mary's mind, just playing around.
And they all seem to have come together in the summer of 1816, when Mary and Percy Shelley eloped to Switzerland and spent time at Lord Byron's rented villa at Lake Geneva.
The weather was dreadful. There'd been a volcanic explosion the year before in Indonesia, and the consequences of that explosion came in 1816, and it was known as the Summer of Darkness. On the night of the 17th of June, the rain was blowing against the windows, and it was Byron who had the idea of reading out some little German ghost stories. And after that, Byron said, "Let's tell some stories of our own."
There was the seed for Frankenstein, an idea that would have gained more shape on the way back to London. As Mary and Percy ran out of money, they had to take a boat along the Rhine, passing through the city of Gernsheim, near to Castle Frankenstein.
200 years ago, the castle was broken down. You can't use a carriage to go here or horses. We think it's not possible that he has really been on the castle. But maybe Mary Shelley heard the name of Conrad Dippel.
Every October, the castle makes the most of these assumed connections.
Nearly 2,400 people each evening. The biggest scary Halloween party in Germany, maybe in entire Europe.
Written by Mary Shelley when she was only 18 years old, we're still talking about Frankenstein 2 centuries later, regardless of its true origins.
Mary took incredible pride in her imagination. And I think that we have to give a lot of the credit for Frankenstein to that.